Hey everyone, Jeff Armbruster here with It Starts With Change. Hope you guys are having a great evening, great day whenever you're watching this video. Wanted to talk today about a topic that I never thought in a million years would be something on my mind, let alone a problem and something I've been dealing with. And that's how to deal with an empty nest. An empty nest that I actually didn't ask for, something that I didn't want, but it was thrown upon me. And that's just life's way of moving on and the journeys that we all, face every single day in our lives. I've got kids who are both off in college, a daughter who's going to be a senior, and a son who's a brand new freshman at Michigan State University. So what I've been dealing with the last several months is an empty house. Working from home, being an entrepreneur, I'm always in this house, and I'm always been used to my kids, in the summertime being around, coming out and being able to have a talk with them, or after school going off and watching one of my son's games or one of my daughter's dance recitals. And that all stopped. It all stopped rather rapidly, rather promptly and rather quickly with my son going off to school this past fall. The last several months have been quiet in this house, and it's been really hard for me to deal with. I'm used to those voices and that laughter and those conversations, always having a kid around to have conversation with, to bounce ideas off of, and that hasn't been present. But there also has been some really good blessings that I've learned over the last several months, and those are some of the things that I want to share with you guys that maybe will help you if anyone here is watching this video and dealing with the same type of empty nest situation. One of the things I've been able to do, and not that I had any type of bad relationship with my wife, but I've really gotten the opportunity to get to know her great again. Getting the opportunity to date my spouse again, if you want to call it that. We have another video here on That Starts With Change that's going to talk just about that, dating your spouse. So make sure you guys look for that in our video list. But getting to know my wife again, getting to spend quality time with her that I didn't get to do necessarily before because we were going in 101 different directions. We either at a soccer tournament for my son, or a track meet, or a dance recital for my daughter, or down at Michigan State visiting her. There was always something going on to keep us busy. And there was nothing but happiness during that time. But this is another time in our life where we've gotten the opportunity to get to know each other again, going out to quiet dinners, having quiet dinners here at the house, sitting around watching movies, catching up on some video series, and having just great conversations, things that she and I just get to do one-on-one. So it's been a wonderful blessing that I've gotten to spend, quality time again with my wife. It takes me back to when we were before our kids, when it was just me and her. And that's all coming back to me now, and remembering just how much in love I am with her and getting reacquainted. So that's been a blessing. That's the number one thing. The number two thing that I've really done is I've been able to dive into my work. As an entrepreneur, I've got a few different things that I do to bring income into my home and to be a homemaker, and that's all been able to be increased because of the amount of time and cycles that I got back. Not coaching anymore and not being involved with some of my son's sporting events has given me a lot of cycles back, and it's been awesome being able to dive in and do a lot of things I wanted to improve on within my businesses and just having those cycles back. So that's been wonderful. But the third thing, and equally as good as the other two, I've been able to rekindle a lot of friendships. I've been able to rekindle a lot of relationships that I hadn't gotten, the time to indulge in before because of kids and family activities. I've been able to get back together with a lot of friends, go out with my wife and them and hang out and do things. And that's been awesome. I've been able to be a friend again to a lot of people and be a present friend and get involved in, everything from tailgating at school with my kids. I get to see them, which is awesome. But with friends and family members who I just didn't get an opportunity to spend as much time with. So those are great things that kind of come out of an empty nest. Now, an empty nest is inevitable. For anybody who has and raises kids, you're going to be in that situation that I am right now and deal with it. And sometimes people are made to feel like, man, we're getting old just because we're at the point where we have an empty nest now and our kids are off doing and living their own lives. That's not necessarily true. I'm in my late 40s. I still consider myself to be, relatively young and middle-aged, and there's a world ahead, and those are things that I'm now looking forward to. I'm looking forward to what happens when my kids have kids some days and they get married, and it's just me and my wife totally. We just got back last week from an impromptu cruise. That's been an awesome opportunity that's come about of being an empty nester. The idea of traveling once again, and traveling on a whim, traveling with very little notice. You know, I had an opportunity that arose to be able to take a Disney cruise, and it was just a couple weeks out, and the price was right. You know, being a travel agent, I was able to get a nice price range there, and we went on a whim. You know, she got the time off, and it was just she and I for 5 wonderful days and 4 nights on a luxury cruise liner, visiting some islands and getting to know each other again. You know, I talked about that a little bit earlier. But the idea of traveling is really relevant, and it's prevalent, and it's right in front of you now. So the idea of traveling is wonderful too. So don't think that just because you're, you know, facing an empty nest that things are always going to be dark and dreary and doomy without your kids around. You know, those kids are always going to come home. I've had my kids coming home several weekends, you know, this semester, and that's always something great to look forward to now, is seeing my kids and spending time with them. But there are many other wonderful things that can happen when you become an empty nester. You know, my wife and I kind of consider ourselves to be part-time empty nesters right now because we have the ability to see our kids pretty regularly. We're only being about an hour and a half away from school. We can go drop in and see them. And we see them right now a lot of times for the fall football games, you know, when we go down to tailgate, and they come home on some weekends, the holidays. And we're trying to prepare ourselves for when we do become full, you know, empty nesters, when they are graduated from college and have families of their own and have officially 100% moved out. So guys, there's lots of things to look forward to, you know, when you do have that empty nest. The number one thing is really getting to know and spend time with that person that started everything, you know, that brought those kids into your lives and partnered with you to raise them. And that's getting quality time with your spouse. I just can't say enough about how much I've really enjoyed that. So that's what I have to say about empty nesting, part-time empty nesting for me, getting ready to be full-timers in the future. It's not all bad. It's not all dark and dreary. Yeah, it started out a little bit tough, you know, having a house that was, for the most part, with a wife that works outside of the home, empty and just me in it, and waking up, you know, and not hearing those voices of your kids that you love so much. It was tough at the start. It really was. But I stuck, and I moved, and I pivoted, and I found ways to fill that time. I found ways to dive back into the work that I love, rekindle a lot of those friendships, and time with some family members, and most importantly, being able to travel and do things with my wife again on the fly, and really getting to know each other again. So guys, empty nesting can be a godsend if you find the positives in there. And that's today's video, you know, all about empty nesting. Guys, I would love to hear about how you guys deal with empty nests. You know, what have you done, and what have you got to enjoy with your spouse or significant other? How has it been for you? For those of you who may have been doing it a little bit longer than myself, you know, how is it turning out today for you? I would love to see those comments down below, and, you know, be able to benefit from them myself, and other people being able to benefit for things I didn't talk about. This has been Jeff Armbruster for It Starts With Change. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share our videos so we can reach as many people as possible. And don't forget about our website at startswithchange.com, where a lot of our videos have been turned into great blog articles that go into a lot more detail and depth about these topics. We'll see you guys on the flip side in our next video, and take care.